It's Scrappy Kathy here with Challenge Accepted. And this week we're doing something a little different. Emma Clark at Mind the Scrap has issued us a challenge. She used it as the public challenge, pre-party challenge, just before the this past weekend's CyberCrop. And it was, her CyberCrop was Marvel themed, although when I tell you what this challenge is, you'll see that it derives from Marvel, but doesn't require any Marvel knowledge or familiarity. So her challenges for the party and for this pre-party challenge consist of a story challenge, a story prompt, a photo prompt, and a technique prompt. And for the story prompt here, based on some facts about this character, Captain Marvel, changing her hairstyle, the prompt was to tell a story about some drastic change that occurred in your family and or occurred to you or occurred, period, and tell a story about that. The photo prompt was to use photos where someone or something is outnumbered, and the technique prompt was just to use this image as inspiration. So I'm going to use a couple of those and maybe twist the prompt, which is perfectly fine in her CyberCrops. You can twist the prompt to fit what the story you want to tell or the photo that you have or the techniques that you can do. So I'll tell you that as far as the drastic change, the big drastic change that's occurred, that's kind of on our minds daily, was when Ava was diagnosed with leukemia. And going with the changing of hairstyles theme, I selected a couple photos of when I had my head shaved to match the little fuzz that was on her head. Of course, after that, when she started the next round of chemo, she lost all that fuzz that had grown back. But I kind of, and I didn't want to go full on with the photos because they're not that interesting to me now. I did this in October, and I've posted those, but because there's this big star behind Captain Marvel here, I brought in a shape of the shape of a normal star and the shape of this sun star onto my word processing system on my Mac, and then I dragged a photo from my desktop and it snapped it to the mask. So I'm going to cut these out, and I'm going to tape some foam behind the behind the images so that when I cut them out, the foam will be the same shape, and that'll we'll see how well that works. Anyway, because I've never done that before. And I've got, going with the red in that theme, I've got this gorgeous red ombre paper, and I'll tell you what that is. The other side is this kind of vivid red, and I could use that, but unless I had 50 sheets, I won't. It is called Wax Lips Ombre, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And actually, this color is exactly the color of the wax lips that I had when I was a kid. I'm going to, so that'll be, the star and this color red will be my nods to the image inspiration. And I found some alphas. The alphas, the first 2 or 3 sets I wanted to use didn't have any E's, so I couldn't use those. I'm going to use the page where the ombre runs from dark to light, and I'm gonna do this actually, I think I may have said this. This page is from the December Mind the Scrap kit, and this page maybe was December, but I think it was November. It's a beautiful, really beautiful vellum with little swirlies on it. And I found an alpha with these, and it's on red foam. It's maybe dark pink foam, and it's silver on top, and it's a nice alpha. So I'm not really going to have much on the page. I am going to try some of this Heidi Swapp Color Shine in a hot pink color, which will be shiny enough and just different enough from this that it should show up. So first order of business, and I've never fussy cut on camera before, so I hope this goes well. Just gonna do this so that it goes across the image and holds onto there. Now, I'm going to leave a white border. Now, I know many people would have done this with their silhouette machines. I will tell you that this, having the foam underneath, actually causes the paper to buckle up a little bit. And because this is kind of what I'm calling a concept page, I'm not going to require it to be perfect, although when I do something of a minimalist page, I do like, that's kind of when I do want things to be perfect. I'm not, I tend to think that when I'm doing something on camera, I'm more likely to be accepting of it because I don't want to do it over again. And I film so much of what I do lately. Although I did 18 layouts this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and didn't film any of them. So anyway, I'm finding that I have quite a few quirks on my pages. Okay, so other than this little wrinkly part here, that's kind of okay. So I'll put that aside. This one I hope will be a little bit easier. There are fewer pointies, although there are longer lines that should be straight. And I'm not known for my straight freehand cutting. A piece of foam fell out, and it feels like part of that isn't covered by foam. Okay, well, there should be enough foam to support the photo, which is really all I'm going for. The photo in this star is one that the barber took when I went in to get my head shaved. It was right after she had shaved it, and she used portrait mode on my iPhone to take this picture of my husband rubbing his hand over my freshly shaved head. And I had about maybe a couple years before, maybe a year before, had started letting my gray grow out after highlighting it and coloring it blonde for many, many years. Maybe close to 30 years, because I started going gray when I was 40. So I had no idea what it was going to be like to have my, and I'd also been straightening my hair for many years. I had no idea what it was going to be like for it to grow out and in my natural color and my natural level of curliness. So I'm finding that out now. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of wet glue to glue down these. Let me get this on there. That's a little bit better. It's the wrong bottle of glue. And I've lost my little, oh, here we go. When you've used this a little bit, the tip gets a little bit clogged. It's not as bad as other glues I've used, but I like keeping this little, I don't even know what you call that. It's meant to clear clogs. I like to keep that on as the top. It actually makes enough of a seal that air doesn't get in and dry it out further. And 9 times out of 10, you go to use it and it's fine. Okay, that one's good. That'll work. Now, since Ava is on maintenance, chemo instead of I don't know what you would call it, the regular invasive, horrible, nasty, poisonous stuff. She should start getting her hair back, get more fuzz. She kind of gives me a fuzz report every now and then. Okay, I have no idea how I'm going to place these on here, but what I thought I might try to do is, let's see, I was thinking I'd do, and this is just kind of seat of the pants here, guys. I'm gonna do something like this. Use that as a corner. And let me do a tiny dot. And what's good about this is you can put your dot of glue behind one of the swirly dots and it's not likely to show. And I didn't plan this, but I accidentally happened to cut this so that I've got these big swirly dots in the 3 corners. So it dries clear and matte, so it won't show under vellum. I have used it many times, and even if it shows wet, it's not going to show when it dries. And in this case, it hardly even shows wet. Okay, I'll kind of let that dry. And now when I do these sprinkles with my Heidi Swap Color Shine, I want it to, my idea is that it will it'll look like shiny hot pink stars. Not sure what that means. Okay, let me see where I might, since this was the after picture, after I got my head shaved, we went over to Ava's mom's, which is where she was at the time, and we took this selfie, and it showed my bald head and her little fuzz, and she was just thrilled when she saw what I'd done. I think I'll do them like that, kind of set along that line. So I don't have any, usually with mixed media when I let it dry, I didn't want to do the sprinkles after the photos were there though, so that wouldn't have made sense. Let me kind of get this glued. I'm gonna work very carefully and try to put this on. I will do some journaling since the I'll talk about the pens right now. Since the alphas are silver, and I got some pink spray on them. Let me get my wiping up ink towel here. Okay, back to the subject. Since these are silver, I will use a silver pen to do my journaling, and it will show up beautifully on that red. I'll show you before we end the video. But I've had several people ask me what white pen I use, and nobody's paying me to say this, but I have tried at least 10 different kinds of white pens. Every time I see a new paint pen, or because when I see the words paint pen, I assume it's going to be really nice and opaque white, and I've tried fine tip, broad tip, whatever, and they're very inconsistent, is all I'll say. And most of the white ink pens I've tried are inconsistent, to say the least. So when I went to a Scrap Happy family reunion in San Diego, my very first scrapbook retreat ever, Alice Bowl gave us all a Signo Uniball white pen. And I've long since used it up, and 3 or 4 more besides. So I went, I saw that my ink was low in my pen that I was currently using. So when I went to Office Depot to get some photo paper, I looked to see if they had them, and they only had them in a 3-pack with gold and silver. And I distrusted the gold and silver because of my experiences with metallic pens before, but I bought it because I needed the white. And I have been thrilled with the gold and silver are just as reliable and wonderful as the white. So I'm very happy, and I can match if I've used gold alphas or other gold accents on my page. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. The spray over here in this section is dried, and it's drying pretty well over here. On the vellum, it's not doing so well. So I'm going to do the paper towel technique and blot that up. It shouldn't affect the shininess, or, you know, it should still show and look good. So what I'm going to do now is put these on and kind of overlap the vellum, because I really want that ombre to show. And this is like I said, it's kind of done as a concept. What I'm doing here is moving that over so that I don't have any red showing before you get to the star. And that's kind of good. Now, where will I put the title? The title's going to be Like Ava. So I think what I like here, there's some space here for a longer word. I can do like here and then Ava underneath it. Yeah, that's good. Let's see. I don't have any eyes, but this, excuse me, this one should work, and that is pink foam, but I hate that when letters stick to the backing. I'm gonna try cutting that little okay, that cut fairly well. Again, it's sticking to the backing. I did all of the challenges in the Mind the Scrap CyberCrop. They have them about 4 times a year, I think. And it's run on UK time, so they start at 6 in the morning their time, and that's 1 in the morning my time. So I didn't get up at 1 either Saturday or Sunday, but Sunday I did get up at 5 for the scrap along, and it's the first time I've actually gathered my supplies and done a scrap along at the same time and finished at the same time. So, and I was really happy with my page. I would highly recommend that. Okay, so very simple. Let me demonstrate the silver pen. I'm going to do a little bit of, I'm going to do a squiggle on that paper just to make sure it's running smoothly. I think that's dry enough that if I have my hand over it, it won't hurt. I could say, it's saying Ava was outnumbered, kind of keeping with that aspect of the theme. She was outnumbered by people with hair. So I had mine shaved off. Okay, and then I'll do a squiggly line to continue with the frame, and I'll make it a double squiggly line. I'll do the same up there, and we'll go like this. Okay, so this page is done. It's a little bit different, and it's not necessarily a style I would do for most photos, but since these are photos of me, I'm okay with it. So hope you enjoyed and got at least a couple ideas. This was fun to do, and thank you very much, Emma, for the prompt and for the incredible CyberCrop this past weekend. And I'll see you all next week. Get out there and accept some challenges. Bye.